Well, it's been a long day for people who started at 8 a.m. At the Lincoln Memorial on this bicentennial day. But it's been an extraordinary day. Hearing the Gettysburg Address recited by children at the Lincoln Memorial, paying tribute to Lincoln together, Nancy Pelosi and John Boehner and Mitch McConnell and Harry Reid and Dick Durbin, and then Barack Obama in the Capitol Rotunda in honor of our 16th president, an extraordinary day. It's an honor to be asked to close tonight's unforgettable program with a toast to Abraham Lincoln, which I would like to, if I may, to expand into an appreciation not only of the monumental figure who brought us here this evening, but to the interpreters of his life who explore his legacy for us on his bicentennial. I'm especially moved to be offering these remarks at the hotel where, as we've heard tonight from Mr. Carr and from Craig, President-elect Lincoln lived in the days leading up to the inauguration in 1861, where he endured and corrected the humiliation of his pre-dawn arrival in Washington, where he solidified his cabinet appointments, where he warned off and warded off cabinet office seekers, patronage seekers, telling one visitor who informed him that a rival for an office had actually challenged him to a duel. He told him that at least such responses would possibly lubricate the appointments process. Where more seriously, as we've heard in this very space, Lincoln faced down, not just endured, but faced down the peace convention and made clear he would not trade slavery extension and perpetuation in return for a hollow and temporary conciliation, even if it meant risking his beloved Union in a war. Here in this building, he met all three of his 1860 opponents. Here he welcomed his predecessor, James Buchanan, after he called on him in the White House. Here he heard from Winfield Scott for the first time on the dire in-person reports from a beleaguered place called Fort Sumter. It was outside of these windows that Abraham Lincoln heard Hail to the Chief played for the first time. It was here where he spoke his first words, as he put it, within a region of the country where the institution of slavery exists. It wasn't quite true because he had spoken in Washington, of course, as a congressman, but in the new world of anti-slavery. It's here where he said with great confidence, when we become better acquainted, we shall like each other more. Such was a rather rosy look at the future as it turned out. After he spoke those words, he retreated to his suite upstairs and continued working on the sublime words that became the peroration of his first inaugural address, massaging a well-meaning but prosaic draft from William Seward into majestic poetry, poetry that so beautifully asked Americans in crisis to turn to the better angels of their nature. Under this roof, he read those words one final time aloud to his son Robert before heading downstairs to meet President Buchanan and ride with him outside these windows to the Capitol and into history. So one cannot help but being overwhelmed by the powerful sense of place surrounding and inspiriting all of us tonight. Nor is it possible to toast Lincoln without paying tribute to the speakers who addressed his legacy here on his 200th birthday. The better part of one's life, Lincoln once said, consists of one's friendships. Craig Symonds is not only a brilliant scholar, but a very close personal friend, and I have the highest affection and respect for him. His contributions to the Lincoln field are manifest, and it's especially exciting that he speaks to us on the night his contributions have been acknowledged and rewarded with the most prestigious honor in our field, the Lincoln Prize. Congratulations, Craig. 37 years ago, even before I knew Craig and Mary Lou, before I knew much about Lincoln, my wife Edith and I traveled to Miami. It was 1972, to cover as young reporters for a newspaper called the Democratic Leader, which existed for exactly a week, the Democratic National Convention. There we celebrated what we were sure was the coming of peace and justice. There we watched as a new era and a new generation took its rightful place in the world of politics. And there we watched as a war hero who hated war took the podium in the middle of the night, as I recall, very late at night, and assured men and women, gays and straights, blacks and whites, quoting Woody Guthrie, "This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island." And for one brief shining moment, it was possible to believe that it was so. So from Abraham Lincoln to this man, to Barack Obama, there is a continuum of hope and possibility unique to America and the leaders it has produced. And I'm particularly honored and awed to be in the same room with one of my all-time heroes, George McGovern. What brings all of us together, of course, is Abraham Lincoln, not just the man, but the country he produced that could give us a George McGovern and a Craig Symonds and sustain the interest in the past, so crucial to informing the future, to preserve and enhance the Union he lived to protect and died to save. Lincoln was asked once to give a toast to his own hero, George Washington. But as he said, it cannot be. To add brightness to the sun or glory to the name of Washington is alike impossible. Let no one attempt it. In solemn awe, pronounce the name, and in its naked, deathless splendor, leave it shining on. Not his greatest words, but he might have been writing the perfect tribute to himself. So in humbly offering a toast to the hero who eclipsed even the father of his country as its savior, let me quote one more line from that same speech of Lincoln's, a little more purple than the Lincoln prose we've come to know and love, but just as earnest. And this is it. What a noble ally, this the cause of political freedom. With such an aid, its march cannot fail to go on, till every son of earth shall drink in rich fruition the sorrow-quenching draughts of perfect liberty. Even though those words were offered at a temperance rally. I hope Mr. Lincoln, if he is watching, would not mind terribly if we raised our glasses and said to Lincoln Prize winner Craig Symonds, to American hero George McGovern, to the Lincoln Group of the District of Columbia, and with gratitude to all the generations who enjoyed the right to drink the perfect draughts of liberty, to live and flourish in the democracy he preserved on his 200th birthday, to Abraham Lincoln. Amen. Thank you.